Each year, tens of thousands of people around the world die from meningitis or suffer lifelong, devastating disabilities.
Well, there are vaccines available, and knowing the signs can help as well. So Dr. Michael Sevilla joins us this morning with what to watch out for as part of World Meningitis Day. I didn't know there was a World Meningitis Day.
It is today, that's right.
It is today. And I guess you do hear a little bit about it, especially this time of year, because kids are starting to get ready to pack it up and go to college the following year. That's a big deal. They want them to have their shots before they leave for college. Why such an issue at that point in your life?
Well, for meningitis, I mean, when people worry about it, they worry about it when you're very young, and then when you get into like the adolescent, college age, and then when you get in the older population. And you know, just kind of doing some research and things. You know, it's been over 10 years now since that West Branch outbreak, and people remember a lot of it at the time. And at the time, people were getting their immunizations and asking more about it. Now, people don't ask about more as much now, but every time when there's a news story around the country, you know, people ask about it. So it's still an important thing, especially for college students.
Now, there's two different kinds. There's viral and bacterial.
That's right.
The most dangerous kind is the bacterial, right?
That's right. That's right. When people have symptoms, they can have symptoms of high fever and fatigue and aches and pains, and you know, sometimes it can be not really specific type of symptoms, but when people get those type of symptoms, especially if they're adolescents or college age, very important to look out for that and to check with your doctor about those symptoms.
Okay. Neck pain too. I always had heard if you have neck pain with the fever.
Yes, not always, but I mean that's traditionally one of the things: neck pain and fever and fatigue and just not feeling well.
Hard because that feigns a lot of things.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, it could be just a sinus infection or a common cold, or it could be meningitis. You know, and to treat that, I mean, it is usually being hospitalized, IV antibiotics, and you have to treat it in the first few hours, or else it could be fatal.
Now, how is it passed, I guess? Is it passed through the air, kissing, touching? How does it get passed from one person to another?
It's usually, it can be through the air, but it's usually, through saliva, that type of thing. You know, when I get questions a lot about, I was across the room of somebody who had, meningitis, it was important for me to get treated or get looked at. And what the recommendations now are, if you're a family member, if you share the same space, for a number of hours, or if you're a college roommate or something like that, then those are, signs that kind of get checked out by the doctor.
Yeah, so that's why the dorm, shared bathrooms, shared rooms, it's closer quarters.
It's closer quarters, yes, as opposed to just, kind of, being in the same auditorium as somebody.
Right, and also, I guess, locker rooms. That's what we talked about, the West Branch case, and there was, they were athletes and so on, and then it becomes a worry. Is there anything you can do if your child's an athlete to tell them that might prevent a problem?
Well, I mean, it's just just not feeling well. I mean,
sometimes they share the water bottles and so on. I didn't know if that was a big deal. And
yeah, it's usually trying to avoid those type of things.
Shared towels and all that.
Yeah, and usually athletes are a little bit tougher because they don't like, and kids in general, they don't like to report when they're sick, and it could take away from them participating from being sick and things. So it's sometimes a little bit more challenge with them.
Well, we're going to talk more with you about meningitis coming up in our next hour. Thank you, Dr. Sevilla. We appreciate you being here.
You're watching WKBN 27 First News, where your news comes first in high definition.
Well, each year, nearly 1,500 Americans die from meningitis.
And today is World Meningitis Day, with a breakdown of who's at risk and steps for prevention. We have Dr. Michael Sevilla joining us from Salem Family Practice. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here this morning.
Great to be here.
And I guess the first thing is, we're talking about some of the signs and symptoms of meningitis. For people who didn't catch us in the last hour, just give us a real quick rundown of what we should be looking for.
Yeah, usually it's high fever, headache, neck pain, generally feeling fatigued, and especially in the younger population, they're just really not acting like themselves, and it can be a real a red flag for parents.
And there's a difference between viral and bacterial. Can you tell if you have either one?
No, and that's kind of the mystery of it too, because the symptoms are very similar, but if you have the bacterial portion, it's more serious, can be fatal if not treated or recognized immediately.
Quickly, right. Now, talking about some of the immunizations, what is the procedure? I remember around 11 or 12, I had my kids to the doctor and they got their meningitis shots. I thought that was a booster. Was that the first shot?
That is the first shot, specifically for that type of meningitis organism. Now they're recommending between 11 and 12, and then a booster after after age 16. But if you miss the earlier one, generally people, see me for the meningitis shot before they go to college.
Before they go to college. So it's important. I mean, it is important not to skip the booster. If you had it at 11 or 12, you need to get the booster shot.
That's right. And it's important, too, that meningitis can be caused by other types of organisms. So to get, all of your immunizations on time is also very helpful.
So what causes it, I guess, for the most part? I mean, where can you get it from? Where do you pick it up from?
Well, I mean, people mostly, hear it, from adolescents or, college age students that epidemics can get spread. We get, very concerned, in the very young and in the adolescents and in the older population. So it could be, virtually anybody that can get meningitis.
Right. Let's talk about the elderly then. A lot of them living in assisted living places where there is some communal situations. You're in a cafeteria style thing together. You're, it's the same type of thing. Did they actually get a booster shot, or maybe did they have a meningitis shot years ago? How does that work for their?
Well, in the older population, it's more people, with medical problems. If people don't have the spleen, or if they have medical problems that decrease their immunity, we're more concerned in the older population about influenza and pneumonia, which have immunizations. But yeah, we do worry about the elderly population as well.
And you can go to your local doctor or your local family physician, and they would have that there for you.
Absolutely. I mean, your immunization schedule should be specific to you, specific to your medical problems, because you may require other ones that other people may not.
Why don't they require it younger than 11, though? I guess are children not as at risk than teenagers, I guess? Or
for that specific organism, they've done studies in that kind of early teen population. Meningitis can be caused by other types of organisms, and they get those immunizations from birth to around age 11 for those.
Okay,
all right,
very
interesting.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Lots of good information this morning. Thanks, Dr. Savella, for being here.